be a lady tonight. They call you Lady Luck, but there is room for doubt. At times you have a very unladylike way of running out. You're on a date with me. The pickings have been lush. And yet before this evening is over, you might give me the brush. Oh, how we doing? How we doing, everybody? You might forget your manners. You might refuse to stay. And so the best that I can do is pray. Luck be a lady tonight. Luck be a lady tonight. Luck if you've ever been a lady to begin with. Luck be a lady tonight. Luck let a gentleman see how nice a dame you can be. I know the way you've treated other guys you've been with. Luck be a lady with me. All right, cut the music, cut the music, cut the music. Cut. I only got paid through the first chorus. Hey, you folks know how your left arm starts screaming in pain anytime you do anything slightly strenuous? All right, let's get into this thing before my vision narrows any further. How you doing? My name is Larry Loveless. That's loveless, not loveful, a bit of cosmic truth, because I am thrice divorced and painfully single. But I believe in love, and at this point, I am open to all options. Hey, how you doing, fella? Hey, what's your name? No? All right. I'll see you in the parking lot. I'm sure plenty of you have heard of me. I was the 10:30 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. cafeteria house act at Circus Circus in the beautiful Las Vegas from April 1973 to September 1973. I know, quite a career, longer than most. It was truly a dream, and I'd still be there if it wasn't for some crippling, outstanding gambling debts, alleged missed property, and a number of clown pregnancies. I like what I like, all right? I like what I like, folks. Don't kink shame me, all right? Not to put too fine a point on it, but they were down to, yeah, bada boom, there it is. Hey, speaking of outstanding debts, who here knows what credit is? Raise your hands. Okay, good, because I don't. So find me after the show, because I'd really like to learn. If somebody lends you money and then you have to pay them back more than they lent you, how is that fair? This used to be a proper country. Anyway, in my time as a Las Vegas lounge staple, I led quite a life. I met quite a lot of interesting people, very famous people. I was engaged to Barbra Streisand once. Well, we dated for a while. Well, we were at a courthouse together once because I was stealing and selling her wigs. But she knows my name. I promise you that. I am more than pleased to be here at the, hey, what's this thing? Yeah, at the the Baltimore Rock Opera Society pitch party. Yeah. Hey, you know, at this point, I'm happy to be anyway. You know what I mean? Seriously, if you know of any gigs, please let me know. Winter is always closer than you think, folks. It gets so cold, and I got a lot of child support to pay. Do you know how much it costs to keep these kids in face paint and balloons? I do. Where was I? All right, the pitch party, you're right. The illustrious PP. Hey, you know who had an illustrious PP? Jimmy Stewart. That's right. He called it Legs Diamond because it could cut glass and he could lean on it. He'd whip it out for you if you so much as called him a cab. That's how proud he was. Only if you asked him, of course, he was a gentleman. Not like that Lyndon B. Johnson. Now there's a dirtbag. But hey, credit where it's due. Guy had huge balls, like you wouldn't believe. All right. Here at the pitch party, you're going to hear several imaginative and intriguing ideas from local visionaries. They're going to share their dreams with you. They're going to share their hopes, their creative ambitions, and I'm going to bask in their innocence and try and remember what it was like to still have those things. This business is not kind, folks. You got to take what you can. Remember that. Our pitches will give their presentations, take a few questions, and we'll all have a few laughs along the way. At the end of the night, and only if you've been here to hear all the pitches, you'll have a chance to submit a ranked choice vote for your favorites, and the winner will be the next full-scale production of the Baltimore Rock Opera Society in spring 2028. How's that sound? Sound good? And if you came here tonight expecting to give a pitch that you did not submit in advance, I've got some real bad news for you, Charlie. You got to go back and do it right next time. We also got some lovely raffle prizes available back there, so go and buy lots of tickets. I get 10%. It's in my contract. If you all didn't read it, that's not my problem. Gambling never did nobody no harm, folks. Before we get into the meat of the evening, we got a wizard from the future or something he's all gonna give us the chance to correct our mistakes. I got to tell you, don't look in his eyes, because you're gonna see how you're probably gonna die. And mine is closer than I thought it was. So let's welcome Lucas Garachi up here, please.
Friends, brojans, countrymen, time. Marking the passage of time is a universal human experience, transcending all cultures and peoples. I invite you to mark a most auspicious moment in time, the 20-year anniversary of the Baltimore Rock Opera Society. You may notice another initiative on your ballot this year. Let me tell you what that is. "2029 is our 20-year anniversary, and we have a choice. We have a choice. We can let that year pass by into obscurity and do a regular year of programming. No. Still face melting, still epic, but indistinct from any other year. Or we could do something, dare I say, in Panton Redondo. Epic. What I'm asking you to vote on is to make 2029 the most epic celebration of 2 decades of prose by bringing all the programming that year. That means the spring show, the fall show, happy hours, fundraisers, pop-ups, puppet karaoke's, all of it, under one unifying epic theme for the entire year. Doing multiple shows in the same world will be like the golden age of the MCU, except for rock operas and community theater. A clarity and continuity of vision that stretches over multiple projects and programming. What will that world be? Well, if we move forward with our 20-year anniversary initiative, we'll figure that out together. Next year's pitch party won't just be to pitch a show, but to pitch a theme for a year of programming the Bros will use to celebrate our 20-year anniversary. So, don't just be a part of history. Vote yes and make it with me.
Vote yes for whatever the hell that's gonna be, I guess. Hey, doing Doing something for a whole year. That sounds crazy. The only thing I ever did for a whole year was community service. All right. Now we're going to get into the meat of this thing. First up, we got a show called Body Slam by Avi Bregman. Is he here? There he is. Avi, come on up here, baby. Show the people what you got. Tastefully, please.
So it should be worse. Body slam, right?
Yes. There we go.
Welcome, everybody, to Body Slam. Hold on. Body Slam. The musical. All right, so. Can everybody hear me back there? Great. Here's the deal. It's like the movie Cars, but instead of cars, everyone is a wrestler! And just like the movie Cars, your police is a car, your mechanic is a car. There's more slide out there. But very importantly in Cars, there is still professional wrestling. In this world, or there's still professional racing. In this world, there's still professional wrestling. And just like in Cars, everybody is a wrestler. Your librarian's a wrestler. Your teacher's a wrestler. Your chef is a wrestler. And back there, your mailman is a wrestler. Our story begins in a humble house on the south side of Suplex City, in a part of town known as The Mats. We open up inside of the house and we meet our first character, Chris El Greco Holden. He is the child of Freddie Two Bits Holden and a longtime resident of Suplex City's neighborhood, The Mats. Back in high school, he had an opportunity to be a face, which for those of you who have never watched wrestling, these are the heroes of the wrestling world, the stars of the wrestling world. Think your Hulk Hogan's. But instead, he chose to lead the humble life of a heel, the villains of the wrestling world. This role is not something that comes with a lot of fame and glory and not a lot of money. It's a humble living, a little bit of a blue-collar job, but something that his family has done for generations, and he took on that role very seriously. He's loved by his family and his community, and lately he has been leading the charge for more equitable treatment of heels in response to recent changes in primetime wrestling that has had heels losing more and more and more. We're introduced to his wife, the instructor, Brenda Holden. She is the matriarch of the Holden family and a longtime resident of Suplex City's neighborhood, The Mats, as well. She's the occasional tag team partner for El Greco and his longtime trainer. She loves three things: wrestling, her family, and wrestling. She's tough but fair and always sees the good in people. We also meet their daughter, rip-roaring Gracie Holden. She's the eldest child and daughter of the Holden family, and she has just received her wrestling name last year. And she has started in the junior leagues as a heel, just to be like her father. When she isn't wrestling, you can find her skateboarding, rollerblading, and doing rad shit around Suplex City. At this point, we will also meet our main character, Dante Holden. You'll notice he doesn't have a wrestling name. He's only 17 years old. He's a senior at Bonesaw McGraw High School, and he is ready to graduate. When you graduate out of high school in Suplex City, you get your wrestling name, you get your costume, you get your identity. It is your coming out in the world. It doesn't mean you're a wrestler, it just means that you've arrived. But, however, he lives in his father's shadow. People say he's just as good as his father, if not better, and they're waiting to see him be a heel on the stage with his father. But he doesn't want to be a heel. Being a heel is for losers. Being a heel is a humble life. Being a heel, you got no money, you got no car, you got no fame. No, he wants to be like his idol, Diamond Sam. At this point, we zoom over to the headquarters of Diamond Sam at the Titan Towers, a glistening skyscraper in downtown Suplex City. We meet Diamond Sam. Diamond Sam is the most dominant face and biggest star this league has ever seen. He's been undefeated his whole career, but he's getting old, and he worries about his legacy. What happens if you can't win anymore? Will people love you? He has no life outside the ring. He doesn't know what it means to exist without being admired. With this in mind, he's been pressuring the league to reduce the number of wins for heels, maybe and eventually making it so heels never win at all. Yeah. At this point, we also meet the members of his crew, the Glitterati. This is going to include such household names as Big Baby Bill, Windstorm Wendy Lane, Evan Holt, Librarian for Hire, Lava Hot James Dallas, and Major Domo. At this point, we also learned that a member of the Glitterati has recently died in an illegal backyard wrestling match, Ray Ray Radio Gaga. And the Glitterati need a new member, so they go talent scouting. They end up at Bonesaw McGraw Memorial High School. At this point, a plan forms. El Greco sees a young boy wrestling, and one of the members of the Glitterati says, "Hey, you know that's El Greco's son. What if we brought him over to our side? What if we made him one of us? Maybe this would be a way to get those heels to shut up for good." And he brings him back to the headquarters, and he shows him the riches he could have, the wonders, the fame that awaits him if he becomes a face. And this has everything that Dante has ever wanted. To be a face, to fight alongside his idol, Diamond Sam. And at this point, Diamond says, "You know what? You're graduating in the spring, but right now I think you're ready for your wrestling name. You're now Golden Boy." He shows Golden Boy all the things he's going to do. He joins the faces. There is a montage, of course, where he tries on different costumes and he finds what he's going to look like. And he's a member of their gang. At this point, we zoom over to a rally. Heels rights, fair fights. Heels rights, fair fights. El Greco is there, gathering the other heels together, ready to show the Primetime Wrestling League that they mean business. Diamond Sam shows up with his crew, and they start to take this rally down. And he tells Golden Boy to get in it. He's in there. He's breaking things up. He grabs a chair. He hits someone. It's his sister. And his whole family sees it. They look at him in shock, and he runs away. Golden Sam and the Glitterati convince Golden Boy that it's okay. They're his family now. He'll always be protected. But Dante still comes home to talk to his family. They reject him, but they let him know that the door is always open. This brings us to the final part of our play. Dante's first match! It is at the biggest arena in town, and everybody is watching. The protege of Diamond Sam is there to fight, to win. Diamond Sam has arranged a cage match against Roly Poly Polly, an easy one that Dante is going to win. His dad is in the audience, though, and he sees him, and he says, "Dad, why are you here?" And you know what he says? "You're my son. I wouldn't miss your first match for the world." Diamond Sam sees this, and he says, "Change of plans." Dante's fighting his father. And if the heels win, they can have everything they want. Fair fights, better wages, healthcare, dental. And so they fight. But his father is losing. And Dante says, "Dad, fight. You have to win. This is everything you've wanted." And his dad says, "No. There are more important things than winning. I love you, son." And Dante stands up at that moment, and he looks at Diamond Sam, and he says, "You know what? You said if the heels win, they could have what they want. You never said there couldn't be two heels." And at that point, he starts fighting Diamond Sam. At this point, it's a Royal Rumble. There's bodies flying everywhere. The Holden family jumps in. The Glitterati jump in. They're fighting. And of course, our hero wins. He gets his wrestling name. He is now Dante's Inferno. He gets his grandfather's jacket. And the heels go on to win. Now, this is a musical, but I want to stress the music here. There is musical elements, Newsies, Little Shop of Horrors, Hairspray, but this is also wrestling. There will be nu metal, System of a Down, Slipknot, Pantera, Godsmack. There will be intro songs, but there will also be choreographed numbers. Important questions real quick. Will there be a wrestling ring? Yes. I have an idea that the wrestling mat is made up of 4 pieces that can be part of the set during the show. When there is a fight, those pieces come together to form the mat. In the middle of the ring, we have our fight. They go back to being part of the set. Will there be big stunts? Absolutely. This is a wrestling-themed musical. We will have lots of money spent on choreography, working with local wrestlers to make sure that the fights are good, intense, but also safe. Hopefully, there are also going to be some aerials. I want a big stunt at the end, something like when Undertaker took Mick Foley off the top of the cage match in the Hell in the Cell match. My wrestling fans know what I'm talking about. Will there be wrestling-themed bits? Absolutely not. I'm just kidding. This show is going to be chock-a-block full of wrestling-themed bits. Since this is a whole world dominated by wrestlers, the garbage men will be body slamming garbage into the truck. When someone asks for a chair, they will get hit in the back. People greet each other with a chest chop. When you cross the street, it's the ding of a wrestling bell. We can do that and much, much more. And for those of you who don't know wrestling and you're wondering why should I like a wrestling-themed musical, I'd like to tell you about Dr. Death Steve Williams or How I Learned to Stop Worrying and Love Wrestling. The thing about wrestling, it is actualized storytelling and accessible theater. It is good versus evil. It is underdogs versus frontrunners. Very importantly, these are larger-than-life characters. And if you don't know about wrestling characters and what we could do with this show, may I introduce to you Honky Tonk Man, Goldface, Mantar, and the Gobbledygooker. This is just a bit of what we can do. More importantly, these are relatable stories. This is about identity. This is about finding your place in the world. This is about understanding who you are, and it's nonstop action. So, if you are interested in coming on this journey with me, I would like to invite you to select Body Slam! The musical.
All right, thank you, Avi. At this point, we're going to take some questions. If you'd like to ask a question, we're going to do this Comic-Con style so you can come up and be seen by everybody. So if you have any questions, feel free to come on up. Or if you don't want to do that, just raise your hand. I'm not your mother. You can do whatever you want.
A question in the back.
I don't know this guy's name, but are you gonna have that guy who's like, oh God, that's Dante's music?
I like that guy a lot, so probably. Question.
There's a lot of like amateur wrestling. I don't think it's gonna work, but maybe supplement some of the cast of people who already know how to do crazy stunts.
Yeah, so I don't know if you've ever been to Maryland Championship Wrestling before. It rocks. I would absolutely like to engage those people, have them help with the creation of the show, make sure that it feels authentic and real, because that's the only way this is going to be amazing.
If you have a question, let's do it into the microphone for the live stream, please.
We got one back there.
Hey, just a heads up. So the Maryland State Commission for Athletics has a couple rules related to things related to professional wrestling. Just be aware there might be some extra hoops that we have to jump through. And also, do you know Mike Martin? Because he might lend us a wrestling ring.
I don't know Mike Martin, but if we get this show made, I would like to talk to him. Yeah, I'd also stress, like, safety is very important here. So we can make it work.
Are we going to have a Shockmaster analog, or
Wait, say that again?
are we going to have a Shockmaster analog?
Did you say
or-
Shockmaster?
Yes.
Who is the Shockmaster?
He's that guy who like fell through his display thing and then just became a joke afterwards. Yes. him.
Oh, okay. We could. I like the idea. There's so much potential with the number of characters you could have in this thing. I would like all of those people in there. I'm very open to it.
More questions? What? Come on. That was a good pitch then.
Yeah, question in the back. Oh, wait, there's a question in the back.
Over to the microphone. Sorry. Thank you. So I don't know a ton about professional wrestling, but I do know that like the announcers are a really big part of it. Do you have any thoughts about how to incorporate them?
Absolutely. So there's a few things that I'd like to kind of work in and as part of like the idea of the wrestling world. One of the things at the very beginning, I want them sitting around a family table listening to a radio show that is essentially just wrestling commentators talking about the news going on in the world. It's over the top. It's everything. As we change between scenes, I like movies and things that sort of have like omniscient narrators. Think like the Fates, think the Singers in Little Shop of Horrors. I want ringside announcers guiding us through the story, telling us how we're getting through things. When scenes start, there's going to be a wrestling bell, so you know it's starting, right? Question in the middle.
does the sister also have a complex relationship with our main character?
So, I mean, the thing about it is, she's adopted the Holden life, the heel life, nonstop, full stop. She's ready to go with her father, and I think he feels a little bit kind of distant from the family in that way. They've always been close growing up. They've been wrestling partners, but they don't see eye to eye on this, right? She wants this sort of regular life. He wants fame and fortune. Their relationship will really come to a head when he smashes her with a chair. And I think part of the resolution, there's a lot of things that I didn't have time quite to get to, but you can imagine there's going to be dialogue and a song in the scene where he goes back home to see his family, where he wants to reconnect with them, maybe show that, hey, I'm gonna be a face, but like I'm still one of you guys. And he's not anymore, right? He has to make that choice, but he can always come back if he wants to be with them. Can I also just say a quick thank you to Veronica and Joe Blackwell? Put your hands up. They did all the great illustrations you saw up here. They're in the back over there. They moved to Baltimore 2 weeks ago, and this is one of the first things they've done. So I think, thank you for welcoming them in.
They got time for one more question.
Yeah, you're up. Yeah, you're up there. Yeah, hold your horses. Okay. So, wrestling is known for its homoeroticism. How? So the question is, has there been any thought of how to maybe play with that? Not obviously on the family side, that'd be bad. But otherwise, within the world of wrestling, there is obviously that idea of the homoerotic. So how would we incorporate that? You got Bros as a queer audience, queer volunteer. So has it been given any thought?
Yes. So one of the things that I love about wrestling is there's a little bit of something for everybody. So for your tough macho guys, you've got Hulk Hogan, you've got Andre the Giant. For somebody you want a little more glamorous, we've got Ric Flair. I don't know if you've ever seen this guy. Woo! Long, flowing blonde hair. He's the inspiration for Diamond Sam. This is a guy who is going to be strutting. He is going to look fabulous. And he is going to own the stage in this way. I want to make sure that every character that we select in this show, everybody can look up on the stage and find somebody that they can relate to in some way. So this is not just a show full of macho tough guys. So have been thinking about that. We'll need to find a way to make sure that it comes through. But it is very important to me because it is so relatable that everybody has somebody they can relate to. Oh, question in the back. One more. Yeah. Who in my opinion is the greatest heel of all time? That's gonna be Stone Cold Steve Austin, baby. And that's the bottom line. I like this guy. Perfect. Thank you.
What a way to start. Give it up one more time for Avi. Martin Thompson, you are on deck for our next pitch. That pitch reminds me of a time I was performing at one of Vegas's most prestigious venues, the main concourse of the Harry Reid International Airport. The crowd, let me tell you, they are loving it. I'm getting pelted with nickels, dimes, sometimes quarters. I got a saying, if it leaves a welt, that's a tuna melt, baby. I'm just wrapping up a rousing version of The Lady is a Tramp. And who should walk up to me but one of the greatest to ever do the job? Andre the Giant comes up to me, drunk as a skunk. And I mean, I smelled him coming from 2 gates away. And in the Las Vegas airport, that's saying something. You ever been? It's like a Midwest Elks Club with airplanes. You could still smoke in there. Isn't that crazy? It's an airport. Vegas, baby. So Andre walks up to me and he said something. To this day, I have no idea what. Completely unintelligible. It might have been, "Are you my plane?" I don't know. I'll never know. Because then he lumbered off into the neon night. True story. And now he's dead. Anyway, Love your people while you can, folks. All right, coming up, we got Gnomes of Suburbia by Martin Thompson. Is Martin Thompson here? Oh, and he dressed the part. Welcome, Martin.
Body slam. I'm a body stan of your. Thanks, everybody. Stalling. No, that's not mine. Back to. Yeah, that's right. The more you know. Hi, I'm Marty, and it is my absolute pleasure to introduce you to the best lawn in Baltimore. Next slide. You can't see her, but this is my co-writer Tasha standing in front of what we call the Gnome House. We call it the Gnome House on account of all of the fucking gnomes. And we got to thinking one day, I wonder what would happen if all of these gnomes came to life. Folks, this is, next slide, Gnomes of Suburbia. A manicured lawn becomes a wild battleground when a group of garden gnomes revolt against the man and his lawnmower. Bros, the time has come to give the world the gnome-themed punk rock opera it so desperately deserves. Next slide. This is a period piece based off the far-off year of 2005. It's an homage to Bush-era pop punk, emo, and alt rock. So think Paramore, think Fall Out Boy, think Jimmy Eat World. I think we can and should be inspired by the full lineage of emo and punk, but a couple of the obvious touch points. American Idiot, obviously one of the most important rock operas of all time. I have MCR up here. I've been soft pitching this show to people as what if Gerard Way wrote Toy Story? And finally, Panic at the Disco's first, some might say, only album. More than anything else, just for the vibes, the kind of meta-theatrical vaudeville aesthetic that will become very important to us in Act 2, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Next slide. Let's start at the beginning. Act 1, Welcome to the Lawn. We zoom in on a cul-de-sac in a typical 2005 lawn, absolutely fucking brimming with garden gnomes. Next slide. I'm no set designer, but I have a Photoshop license, so this is my attempt at a kind of stage aesthetic. You can't see it on the left, but we got a towering pink flamingo ornament, giant puppets, lots of little holes for the gnomes to disappear down into, and I added a skate ramp because it's my pipe dream, so to speak, that one of the gnomes will be, thank you, going around on like a tech deck. Can anyone here do a kickflip? No? All right, we got 2 years. Oh, yeah, you're in. Next slide. Let's meet some of the gnomes. The gnomes are a group of capricious, naive, lovable weirdos. Think the residents of Bikini Bottom. So here's a couple of them. We got Weathersby on the left here, stage right. Petunia, Granny Smith, cool dude on the tech deck. Kale and Frog, Beachy. We got Worm on Leash. And also on the side, Elder Pink. Elder Pink is a large flamingo puppet who's kind of the spiritual mentor to the gnomes of the lawn. And one more gnome that I have to mention, next slide, Parade. Parade is our first protagonist. So Parade is a gnome who isn't like other gnomes. He is bored of all the normie gnomes, even though he himself is a bit of a dork and kind of a rules guy. And above all, he's ruled by fear. Fear that he will never amount to anything, and fear of, next slide, the man who mows. The man who mows is the homeowner. He is the overlord of the lawn, and he is played by, you guessed it, a giant fucking puppet. Inevitably, when no one's watching, the garden gnomes tend to the wildflowers and mushrooms that pop up all over the lawn, but inevitably the man who mows comes along and destroys their handiwork. And how will it ever end, this cycle of violence? Until, next slide. Enter Rain, our second protagonist. Rain has been transported to the lawn against her will by the man from the far-off world of Flea Market. She is chaotic, neutral aligned. She is fearless. She's got a wry sense of humor and an avoidant attachment style. And above all else, she is a fucking anarchist. And when she witnesses the conditions of the lawn, she realizes she has no choice but to act. Next slide. Rain. Gnomes revolt. Rain rallies the lawn with the rallying cry, "You are more than ornamental." The gnomes sharpen their shovels. They get out their fucking tomato trebuchets. They have trained attack bees, whips made out of poison ivy, and they take the man to the ground. They tie him down Gulliver's Travels style, and they declare victory. And they look around. What now? From the back, one of the gnomes yells out, "Let's fucking eat 'em!" Everyone cheers, except for Parade, who looks horrified. Curtain, end Act 1. Next slide. Act 2, Turf War. Things take a dark turn as night falls over the lawn. The gnomes, unable to agree with what to do with the man, teeter on the brink of civil war. Next slide. Let's take a costume break really quick. In Act 1, the gnomes live under an oppressive system that controls what they can and can't wear, and as a result, they basically look like gnomes, with a few exceptions. However, in Act 2, the gnomes are free to express themselves with the man gone and express themselves. They do. Next slide. Rain and Parade emerge as the de facto leaders of the two camps. Parade and his pacifists assume the kind of dark carnival vibe aforementioned, while Rain and the rebels have a more anarcho-punk, lots of got-to-be-glued hair gel. Rain grapples with the dissolution of her revolution's ideals, while Parade accidentally trips on magic mushrooms and becomes kind of a gnome messiah. Next slide. And then what? Well, we promise you subterfuge as Rain has a terrifying solo encounter with a man. We promise you betrayal in Parade's camp. We promise you, it says dramatic irony as Parade is marched out and either fully crucified on a grape trellis or potentially tied down in a kind of dark mirror image of what was done to the man in Act 1. Next slide. And how does it end? Will the gnomes come together to create some kind of anarcho-communist solar punk utopia? Or will the man who mows bring utter annihilation? Vote for our show to find out. Next slide. Let's talk production. So the vibe of this show is something I can only describe as lawncore. So everything is to scale for the gnomes, which means towering lawn chairs, things made out of grass. For creatures, obviously, we got the big pink flamingo puppet, the man who mows, but we think there's an opportunity for lots of puppets, the attack bees, everyone's favorite worm on leash. It's an ensemble piece about revolution, so I'm super excited about the possibilities for big battle scenes, huge stage combat show. Yeah, we've kind of tried to build this from the ground up as a playground for designers. Next slide. A couple of examples of the kind of songs you might expect in this show. Farewell Heaven in the Front Yard. This is Parade's kind of irony-laden opening number. Think, you say you're fine, but you're not fine, but you just can't get into it because they'll never understand type shit. Face paint, or Believe Me, War is Great for One's Complexion. This is Rain's Act 2, Fuck You, I Won't Do What You Tell Me turn. Flower Called Hysteria. This is the Act 2 dark carnival, big opening number. And finally, Gnome Place Like Home. Gnome Place Like Home is the gnomes' folk punk anthem. So imagine you and your friends at a house show basement. You're jumping up and down, singing a very simple chorus, and one of the gnomes has a tambourine, maybe. Next slide. So for a show about garden gnomes, we think you're going to find this super relatable. Why? It's a show about living under an oppressive regime. It's a show about the dangers of polarization versus the promise of solidarity. It's a show about how we share resources and coexist with one another. And finally, it's a show about home. So is the grass always greener on the other side? And what does it really mean to belong? Next slide. All right, so finally, why should you vote for our show? Well, it's larger than life with lots of opportunities for show stopping, production design. It's the kind of show only bros can do. There's a nostalgia factor. Like I said, it's the 2005 period piece. We think people are going to be really into this sort of thing. It is campy, it's funny, it's weird, but there's some character to it. We're really excited about the arcs we have planned for these characters. And finally, it's punk rock gnomes. So what else can I say? Next slide. That's all I got for you folks. Gnomes of suburbia, keep off the grass. Any questions?
All questions into the microphone, please, for the kiddos at home on the live stream. Questions?
There's one right at the back.
Way in the back.
Okay. My question is, have you seen Romeo and Juliet? And how much influence does this have over this piece?
I haven't seen Romeo and Juliet. I'm aware that there's a long tradition. We'll watch it. We'll watch it for research. I promise. I'm aware that there is a long tradition of gnome pun themed movies. What's the other one? Sherlock Gnome, I think, is the follow up. So we're, I guess, in the lineage of that, but I think it's more of a Jesus Christ Superstar mashed up with the SpongeBob musical kind of a thing.
Right here at the front.
Are you going to be employing any DIY musicians like in the scene or like other punk scenes for this musical, like and folk punk as well?
I would love that. I've kind of soft pitched it to some of my friends. They're like, "Oh, you should get this person involved. They write punk." And I'm like, "Yeah, hell yeah." Yeah, it would be amazing to have all kinds of different genres. The gnomes should have their own unique sound. You know, I imagine the gnomes themselves are very folk punk. Parades maybe more emo. Rain, I don't know, more revolutionary sounds, protest music. So yeah, that would be
Very
sweet.
cool, very cool.
Yeah.
Sounds like you've thought a lot about the mechanics of the puppets already. I'd love to hear more about that. I would love if the flamingo puppet could involve a stilt walker. Just a thought.
That would be amazing. Yeah, Bros has amazing puppet designers, and we would love to engage some of them in the script development process, because I think that instead of waiting to the end, figuring out like what people have already been wanting to do, how we can incorporate those into the plot would be sick. So I'm not amazing at puppets. I've been on a couple puppet shows. They're mostly hands, not giant puppets. But I would love to hear what people have planned and what they've been wanting to work on.
Question right there.
Got the blinders.
That was great. Are there any like other lawns that are ever a part of this? Like, are there other gnome societies? Like, row homes are pretty close to each other, so presumably, like, the person at 3307 knows what's going on at 3305. Like, do those gnomes ever interact?
They could. We have an outline. We want to discover more of the plot in the process. So I think that's a cool idea. And if not, then we'll do the sequel. Anyone else? All right.
Oh, she got another question right there.
Are there any? I saw you had like a cat in one slide. Are there any like outdoor animals gonna be involved in this?
Yeah, you're referencing the image of the cat wrestling 5 gnomes. That would be amazing. I think that there could definitely be creatures. I love like burrowing creatures, so maybe a rabbit would be sick. They could ride the rabbit into battle.
Do they have marmots in Baltimore? I'm not from here.
They
Or not
definitely have
marmots,
weasels.
groundhogs. Like I don't know what they call them.
A groundhog would be a formidable mount, so if they do, we're gonna have to make that decision. But yeah, it would be amazing if they could like ride rabbits into battle or otherwise train the critters. All right. Thank you. Oh wait, do you want to do one more? Or we...
Thank you. So, when the man who mows stops mowing, is there an environmental impact? Is there an environmental message in Keep Off the Grass?
That's a hard question because me and my co-writer have differing opinions about lawns. But yeah, inevitably, I mean, we're talking about trying to bring back the natural flowers that are growing on the lawn. We don't want them to spray Roundup or any other kind of runoff. So I think inevitably we have to consider, what the environmental message is. So great question. All right, thank you so much.
Let's give it up for Martin Thompson. What a pitch, what a pitch. Isn't that something? Isn't that imaginative? Punk rock garden gnomes. Who ever heard of such a thing? You know, in my line of work, you wake up on a lot of lawns. Some better than others, some home to some very mean dogs. But this one time, I woke up on this lawn and I thought I had died and gone to heaven. Gorgeous Kentucky bluegrass, KBG, the greatest grass there is. It's like sleeping on a cloud that's still kind of itchy. As far as I can see, and I look over and who do I see sleeping next to me? Fat Mike from NoFX. Created the Punk Rock Museum in Vegas. Can you believe it? I couldn't. Great man. So I crawl over to him and I put my fingers under his nose. Well, I wipe my fingers on my jacket first. I don't know where they've been. That's polite. That's what you do. So I put my fingers under his nose to make sure he's breathing, and you know what? He was. So I borrowed $50 and I left him there. True story. All right, next we got Tevisai and Ren Tillery with a little pitch called Mere Smith. We ready? Are they ready? They ready over there? Looks like, hey, here they come. How we doing over there? All right.
I'm not going to use the stand because I'm too fucking short.
We got like a whole thing. We're not just giving you a hard time.
Okay, fine, Mr. Tall Man. Use the stand.
Yeah, man.
All right. Cool. Anyway. Oh, shit. You were totally going to do this.
Yeah, that's
okay,
right.
So,
Okay,
I'm sorry,
all right.
I'm sorry. Hi.
Hi.
I'm Ren.
And I'm Tevis. And this is our pitch, Mirror Smith. All right, enough of that. Our tale begins in Ravenlock, a duchy at the edge of the English rule known as the Pale in the late 1400s Ireland. English influence has been waning for some time, in part due to the Black Death, striking English settlements in Ireland.
Settlements including Ravenlock. Plague claimed the Duchess of Ravenlock some years ago. No, go back. This was a blow to the people, as she was an Irish native, and a blow to the Duke, who went mad with grief and disappeared. Their son, the Dukeling,
We call him the Ugly Dukeling.
will come of age soon, and the duchy has planned a celebration in his honor.
But this is not their story. It's not about the Ugly Dukeling. Instead, we focus on the town smithy. The smithy, the heart of town.
Next slide, please. Old surly Smith McGowan has two apprentices, Rowan, a cocky but hard-working would-be armorer, and our hero, Hector, who aspires to swordsmithing, but he has a ways to go yet. Fortunately, Rowan has been nice enough to help him out.
By the way, the genders of the characters Rowan and McGowan are flexible.
You want to click that, but don't advance the slide yet. Just click it. Just click it.
One advance.
Just,
There we go.
oh, magic.
Yeah.
Use your imagination.
Next
All right,
one.
now you can advance the slide.
All right. Hector and Rowan have been friends since they were small, competing for Smith McGowan's praise.
Rowan usually wins these competitions.
Hector feels genuine love for Rowan and recently a growing crush.
The Duke has commissioned the smithy to produce a weapon and armor befitting his future station. Rowan, for their part, has been hard at work, but Hector has been struggling to contribute.
Next slide. One day, while searching for materials and inspiration, Hector finds a magic mirror.
Wow.
He's surprised to find his reflection talks back to him and offers to help him craft a sword. Reflected Hector, we call him Reflector. Reflector can craft swords quickly and easily. All he requires is some extra iron to help out. Hector gives Reflector some scrap iron from around the shop.
Next slide. Hector shows Smith McGowan the sword, not mentioning that Reflector made it for him. Smith McGowan is impressed enough to put Hector in charge of crafting the Dukeling's sword.
Hector's happy to have impressed his mentor, but has no idea how to craft a sword this ornate or this important.
Oh shit.
But Reflector disagrees.
Hey, don't sell yourself short. I might have helped out a little bit with that last sword, but it was your work. Let me help with your next project. You brainstorm and I will speed you through some rough drafts. Let's just one thing before we start. I need more iron.
Hector discreetly steals some iron from around the smithy in the town, and Reflector makes him an array of swords. Next.
When Rowan sees Hector's work the next day, they're very impressed and they're curious about his process. They've been stressed out because some of the armor that they have been working on has gone missing. And they could use some pointers if they're going to make up for lost time.
Hector, because he's full of shit, can't answer Rowan's questions and has Reflector sub in for his place.
I used a single billet quenched in tallow, then tempered it.
But this sword is clearly forge welded, and there's no reason to temper hardened steel that you've already quench hardened.
I appreciate the pushback. You're absolutely right. I used several forward welded pieces with no temper.
Why are you talking like that? Are you bullshitting me? Rowan feels betrayed that after all the times they've helped Hector out, he won't reciprocate. Rowan storms off. Next slide. Hector is upset to have hurt his friend, but Reflector doesn't get it.
What do you like about them anyway?
Tongue-tied, Hector replies, "They're beautiful."
Oh, is that all? And with that, Reflector introduces Hector to Mirror Rowan.
Mirrowan.
Hector enters the mirror to be with Mirrowan. End Act 1.
Next slide.
No, don't cheer, that's bad.
Next slide.
In Act 2.
After Hector seemingly disappears, Rowan asks various townsfolk if they've seen him. They haven't, but all of them have noticed iron going missing, horseshoes, shovels, belt buckles.
Uh-oh. When Rowan mentions Hector and the missing iron to Smith McGowan, they immediately know what has happened. Hector is in the cursed mirror. How do you know that?
Rowan strikes the mirror, but Smith McGowan stops them from destroying it and trapping both of them in the mirror.
What do you mean both?
Next slide. Inside the mirror, Hector feels the impact of Rowan's blow, causing him to stumble into the Duke, who has been here the entire time.
Oh no. The Duke tells the story of how he entered the mirror to be with a reflection of his love, the late Duchess.
The Double Duchess.
Double Duchess.
Meanwhile, outside the mirror, Smith McGowan reveals the mirror was a cursed gift from the fairy court, and that McGowan hid the mirror to prevent the Duke from sacrificing all the iron in the duchy to power it.
As a side note, Irish fairies are not cute Tinkerbell fairies. They are dangerous, powerful, a big reason why we chose Ireland as the setting for our story. So if you're familiar with medieval folklore, you probably remember that fairies hate and fear iron. So, at the climax of our show, the characters inside and out the mirrors unite to fight the mirror, which transforms into the Mirror Monster. Hector defeats it by finally crafting a shitty sword all by himself, using whatever raw materials he can solicit from the audience and the band. Give me your program, give me your beer can, give me your shoe, give me that thing on your head.
Next slide. Let's talk design. This show calls for a smithy as a set. That means we want a glowing forge, we want flying sparks, we want a ringing anvil. We also need a full-length mirror that actors can step through. When Hector enters the mirror, the set has to be swapped left and right live on stage to reveal the mirror world, which is an uncanny, slightly wrong reflection of the original set.
Next slide. So there is plenty for wham and costumes to do here. We need period clothing for the citizens of Ravenlock, but also mirror imaged versions of these for the mirror clones to wear. Whereas the originals are going to be fiber, like natural fibers, earth tones, the reflections are going to be synthetic and shiny. Think like gold lame in the same kind of colors. Makeup for the mirror clones should give the airbrushed, yassified Instagram filter feel. We're thinking exaggerated contours, blush, kind of a drag queen look. We want the mirror characters to read as human shaped, but not actually human. It should be kind of uncomfortable to look at them.
Next slide. The big creature for this show is the mirror monster. This is an enormous creature made of shards of glass. You should think somewhere between a disco ball and a spider-webbed windshield. It has to fight the protagonists and also, importantly, shatter into pieces when Hector strikes it at the climax of the show.
Cool.
Next slide.
All right, so music. Let's talk music. We are envisioning music that blends traditional Celtic music with rock and roll. Some traditional instruments that we're thinking we're going to feature. Let's do the first clip and listen to this. All right, so you might have heard like there's some fiddle. Imagine like maybe we include like a tin whistle, a hurdy-gurdy. There's a ton of different things. We can also, as you saw in that clip from the opera of the Anvil Chorus, we could include an anvil and a hammer for some cool percussion. So picture that. Yeah, and then let's play the other clip. If you like traditional, like folk songs, kind of that, like if you're a fan of, for example, The Rocky Road to Dublin, imagine that a rock and roll version.
Some hearty jigs, the water we bubbling off the Holyhead. Wish myself was dead, like the fire said. On the rocky road to Dublin, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hunt the hare and turn her down the rocky road and all the ways to Dublin, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hunt the hare and turn her down the rocky road and all the ways to Dublin, whack for love me down. The boys.
So there's tons of music to work with there. We all liked Wellerman. Imagine it with heavy metal.
All right,
Next up.
meanwhile, for the songs for the mirror clones, we need something a little bit more synthetic. To give them that uncanny edge, we would like at least some of their vocals to be done via talkbox, which is what we have here.
So yeah, while you set that up, the talk box, just to talk real quick about it, it is not auto-tune. It is a completely different, more analog, more retro sort of technology.
Let's just show you.
Show them.
Or, if you prefer, that's the taste.
All right, you get the point. Thank you, Tevis. So our last slide.
Why
Mirrorsmith? Well, in case you missed the subtext, we thought a lot about AI while we were writing our pitch.
We reject AI content as art, but not the humans who are sometimes seduced by it.
Our show affirms the value of hard work, of failure, of grief in the pursuit of art and community.
Community like bros. We would love to make this piece of art with this community. Thank you for your time.
Questions for us. Oh, a question in the back. Dan.
Hello. So I'm just curious about like how far into kind of like Irish culture are you picturing this show? Like, do you want Irish step dancing? Do you want like that's my main question is about Irish step dancing actually.
No, that's fair. No, I think that's fair. I think that Ireland is a setting for us. A lot of the factors of it are the music, the traditional music, but also I think there's a lot of more modern things that we could touch on. I think we want to stay grounded in medieval Ireland and medieval folklore specifically about, there's a lot to work with in terms of fairy tales. That's kind of my big interest and bag and why we chose Ireland.
Right. I can talk your ear off for a little while about kind of like the political things that were happening at the time, but we chose our setting both because the music is great, the mythology fits the story we want to tell, and also, of course, if we're going to have Irish music, we got to have Irish dance.
Kind of going off the first question, for any of the characters, do you expect them to actually, like, if not even speak in Irish accents, but to potentially speak the native languages?
I think that's kind of a big ask. We definitely aren't expecting like full Gaelic in our show. And definitely an accent is optional. There may be a place for it in terms of character acting, but I think we're not envisioning all the actors acting in an Irish accent. No.
I'll just say for the record, like, I have a Gaelic first name. I don't know if I say it the way a Gaelic speaking person would. The veil of theater is powerful.
Tevis is more Irish than I am. Anybody? Oh, over there. Kate. Don't apologize. We love you.
Teamwork.
Teamwork makes the
So
teamwork.
I love the idea of the talk box, but with all the love in my heart, I could not understand a single word you were saying. How do you plan to accommodate for that?
Yes, please take that one.
Okay, so we don't want every single thing the clones say or sing to be done by a talk box.
Absolutely
You know,
not.
you think about like a song that has like 3 refrains, 3 verses, right? Maybe the last refrain is done by the talk box. We want it to be something that, like, you know, maybe even just the backing vocals at times, you know, we're willing to be a little bit flexible about how it enters into the music. The point is to just make it feel like, these aren't people.
And let me add on, as the person who did not perform with the talk box, we've owned the talk box for about 2 weeks, and it's actually pretty challenging to use. You are not singing into it. It takes practice. So I think with a couple of months of practice, a person using it could be a lot more articulate and intelligible with it.
People are way more talented than I am.
It was right here. It was right here. I should have, I don't know. So, on the one hand, I assume to have as many roles as possible, you're going to want the mirrors to be a different actor than your mains. But are you at all interested in somehow the magic of bros having those be dual roles? Like having someone play their own mirror?
So that, I think, is definitely a question for casting, but we were envisioning Hector certainly needs a different actor than Reflector because they are talking directly to each other. However, we're going to have a bunch of ensemble roles for townspeople, ensemble roles for the fairy court. They're actually pretty important, and those may overlap, and certainly people who play, for example, I play the innkeeper, or I play a farmer, and you may play your mirror self. In that, or there may be additional roles depending on how we want to cast it. I think that's a question for the writing team as well.
Yeah, so one quick add on that. We think it would be kind of a fun touch if some of the mirror clones also voice / puppeteer the mirror monster, right? Like we have this wonderful drawing by Ren about of this kind of Hydra mirror monster, but like
It doesn't have to be a dragon. It could also have human faces. It could have really weird non-human faces. It could be anything. It's
We
got to
think
be
it would
shiny.
We think it would be a fun little ad. Yeah.
Time for one more question.
Somebody? No. No. No questions.
Let's give it up one more time for Mia Smith. Wow, amazing, amazing. A mirror that eats iron. What an idea. You know who else can't get enough iron? That's right, Mike Tyson. They don't call him Iron Mike because it's tough. The man can't get enough iron. Know his favorite way to get it? Blood. That's right. Now, I'm not saying Mike Tyson is a vampire. That would be ridiculous and violate several court orders. But what I can say is one time I was in the Las Vegas blood bank selling plasma, and who should walk in but Iron Mike himself? Walks right up to the counter, plops down a duffel bag full of gold jewelry he won in a poker match from Mr. T. Boom! Buys the whole place. Did you know you could even do that? Well, you can't, but Mike clearly didn't know that. He starts screaming about how he needs that sweet, sweet iron. They very politely tell him to leave, because how else are you going to tell Mike Tyson to do anything? But he didn't like that. He starts going around and grabbing blood bags off of racks, still hooked to people's arms because he likes it fresh. Guzzling it like it's going out of style. I say, whoa, Mike, take it easy. You can have mine, no problem. There's always more Larry, where that came from. He walks up to me, and he takes a big, long sniff. And then he throws up blood all over me. And that's how I got hepatitis. True story. All right, we're gonna take a little break now. Little 15-minute intermission. Then we're gonna have 3 more fresh, hot off the presses pitches for you guys. So see you guys in a little bit. Never knew how much I love you. Never knew how much I care. When you put your arms around me, I get a fever that's hard to bear. You give me fever. When you kiss me, fever. When you hold me tight, fever! When the morning, fever all through the night. Sun lights up the daytime, moon lights up the night. I light up when you call my name, and you know I'm gonna treat you right. You give me fever. When you kiss me, fever. When you hold me tight, fever! In the morning, the fever all through the night. All right, threw in that one for free. Threw in that one for free, folks. Not in my contract, but I like you guys. I like you guys as a crowd. Hey, we're about to get started, so if you're interested in hearing what these next people got to say, come on and fill up these seats. Fill up these seats. Makes it look good for the investors, all right? All right, next up, as we continue the PP, we got Primordial by Stephanie Hearn. Give it up.
Hi, everyone. My name is Stephanie. Thank you so much for this opportunity to be here today. I'm going to show you Primordial, and I hope you consider it for the Bros Spring production of 2028. So, to begin, all right, our story begins in a land before time, where Scooge, our protagonist, is the first of his kind. He's the first sea creature with legs. Yes. Although the dawn of dance delights Scooge, his family and friends find him to be an abomination, unable to imagine how Scooge will survive in the world above. So the dawn of dance. Although his family and friends plead for Scooge to stay beneath the water where it is safe and where, you know, everything is best at home, Scooge recklessly ventures onto land, determined to prove that land is habitable, but he's in for a rude awakening when Earth's surface is less than hospitable. So we have abnormally large insects, towering ferns, and 7-foot arthropods that welcome Scooge with the first rule of land, which is eat or be eaten. And the arthropods and other creatures are not pleased when another tetrapod enters the primordial villa. So Scooge flees certain death and takes refuge with the musical moss and rocks. And they reveal to him a cyclical nature to the world, where life begets life. It's a much more kinder view of everything, and there's room for everyone to grow. But this hippie shit quickly ends. As it usually does, anthropomorphized atmospheric elements, a volcano or two, meteors are flying. It's a catastrophe, and survival of the fittest doesn't matter anymore with a cataclysmic event. Everyone is sure to die, and Scooge runs for cover. And we are headed into an intermission where quickly I'm just gonna have everybody think for a second about a lovely ballet called the Nutcracker, where I want you to imagine the Nutcracker where you're on board, everything is making sense, you're fighting rats, you're cracking nuts, but then there's a second act where nothing makes sense anymore. And so I want everyone to nod along where they're like, yes, we're here for the ride and we love the Nutcracker. We're gonna cry at the pas de deux. It's gonna be beautiful. And so Scrooge awakens surrounded by single cell organisms. Yes. And he's asking important and pertinent questions. Am I alive? Am I dead? Am I dreaming? And the single cell organisms laugh at him and sing. And they tell him, don't worry about it. Stop being so complex. You're making things too complicated. Life's actually very simple. And while Scrooge wants to get with this philosophy of life, that life is actually very simple, Scrooge sees right through them. And that might be because they're transparent. But it's also because he sees a complex world within these organisms. And while this confrontation does not end so well for Scrooge, this time Scrooge is eaten by one of these single-cell organisms and is plunged deeper into the world of the cell. Yes. So within the cell, Scrooge sees a utopia, a beautiful world where everyone is at harmony. No one's trying to kill anybody else. Because they all worship the master code. And it's a beautiful world where everyone's worshiping the master code. And Scrooge is like, maybe this is it. Maybe this is where I belong. No one's trying to kill anybody. Maybe if I join in, everything will be at peace, finally. And so Scrooge joins in, but quickly the cell realizes that he is not one of them, is an outsider, a threat to their universe, and they attack. Once again, Scrooge is on the run. He flees into the nucleus, climbs down the DNA ladder, and he arrives at the level of particles and elements. So, yes, this is from Jimmy Neutron, everyone's favorite. Yes, so at this level, Scrooge speaks to the elements oxygen, hydrogen, carbon, and other sorts. And they tell him that they're driven by forces that they can barely understand. Whether it's bonds, it's magnetism, it's gravity, they're barely sentient as it is. And so Scrooge falls into despair, for perhaps there's no end to life's beginning. Could there be that there's no meaning, there's no reason, nothing that we can begin to comprehend? So the particles come together and they bring Scrooge another level further down, the level of protons and quarks, where Scrooge reveals where Scrooge reveals the lessons he has learned and decides life's meaning in one big musical finale. Woo! So, for this production, I do have a very particular visual aesthetic, a vision that I would like to share, which is that everyone who's going to be in their respective acts is already on stage, completely camouflaged until their number, and they leave the stage and they reveal the layers beneath them. So, for example, the animals and creatures reveal the plants underneath, reveal the moss and the rocks, reveal the lava and tectonic plates, and so on. So it's going to, we're going to transport the audience from sea to land to millions of years ago. And it's going to take some creativity, some ingenuity, and some flagrant disrespect for science, scale, and historical accuracy. And I want everyone to nod with me. We are not going to be accurate. Yes. And so we're going to be bringing your middle school textbook to life with its vibrant colors. This is going to be a show that's going to be heavy in puppetry. We're going to need some brilliant transitions. We're going to need both aquatic, terrestrial, and maybe even metaphysical dance. It's going to be a lot of movement to move from different places, and then there's going to be some perhaps life-sized science projects. So the tone is camp, the mood is high, and this is Precambrian phalanges at their finest. So the music of this production is obviously going to be heavy on the synthesizer, for we have to synthesize millions of years. So yes, with the synthesizer, there's also going to be lots of experimental structures. There's going to have to be lots of danceable rhythms, and it's going to have to be heavy on the drama. Now, I myself am a singer, but I am not a songwriter, so I have a sense for what kind of song should go to where. But other than that, I'm going to need musical talent to get this soundtrack off the ground, or should I say out of the water. Yes, so the music in this production is going to have to walk a line between the playful and the existential, the wondrous and the weird, the rock and the lobster. Yes. So just so everyone has a mood board of what we're feeling for this show, I woke up at 4 a.m. one night 2 years ago with this pitch idea ready to go. Well, I made this PowerPoint a week ago, but I maybe was thinking about a trip to some botanical gardens. Maybe I was dreaming about an Italo Calvino short story, or maybe this is from the memory of beloved 90s children's science television programs. But I also feel that this story is also a story of an artist's journey, where it's full of naysayers, it's full of cutthroat competition, but it's also full of the foolish will to live freely, to be true to yourself, whether you succeed or face defeat. And that's my last very terrible joke. And I want to thank everybody for considering Primordial for the Bro Spring production of 2028. And I'll take some questions. No questions. No further questions, Your Honor.
I'm really excited about the dance in this, and I'm very curious about how single-celled organisms dance.
Oh, yes,
and
I'm
how
curious too.
Is it Scooge?
Yes,
Maybe dances
Scooge.
differently than everyone because Scooge has feet.
Yes, well, I mean, human anatomy, we're all going to be in possession of feet, so this is going to have to get creative. So, yes, Scooge for sure has feet, but yes, for cells, I could see them moving any number of ways. I myself am not a choreographer, so if you want me to imagine that right now. Maybe that works. I don't know.
Hi there. I feel like I understand like what Scooge could look like. Can you paint a word picture of what like a quark is going to look like in a costume?
Well, I actually was kind of even thinking at that level of the show, the quark might not even be a person. Oh, yes, it could be a puppet. Could be a puppet, or I was thinking it could be a creative, like an opportunity to do something very creative with lighting. Could be an opportunity to do something with set design that could be really, really cool. So, who knows?
I noticed that Act 1 very much involves the idea of evolution and going on forward to like the next forms of life, evolved life, and then Act 2 goes the other direction of breaking down to smaller and smaller parts of what makes the universe. I was wondering what inspired that structural choice.
Excellent question. What inspired the structural choice? Well, I think it, again, because I had this, I think it literally just came from a dream where I thought of Scooge, but where Scooge was very much like this memory of beloved 90s children's science shows. It just kind of flowed naturally in my brain's path to go to this level, because I think the questions I was asking are like, if we really want to get into it, philosophy, I started to think about what constitutes as life, where does life begin, and we can get into that and maybe even some further existential questions. I was consulting some rationalists, some empiricists, some existential. If you want to go there, happy to. My degree's in philosophy, but I didn't include. I had this whole slide of pictures of philosophers, but I cut it out. So yes, it was a good idea.
Hi. So aside from what you showed in the mood board and other slides,
yes,
are there any notable real life botanical gardens or even aquariums or zoos that you're thinking of visiting for potential research?
Well, I have been to Longwood Gardens. Have you been? They have like in their.
No, I haven't. I've never even heard of them.
Well, Longwood Gardens is actually not a very far away. I think it's like within 2 hours. If we want to do a field trip, I highly recommend it. They have a very big like greenhouse, beautiful, and there's several rooms in there. One of them is of ancient plants, and I was like, wow, this is a very cool and interesting place to be amongst the ancient plants. I mean, you have to kind of readjust for these ferns are supposed to be towering and huge. So, scale is not an issue with this production.
My question is that the plot seems like really psychedelic, man. And I was wondering, like, if there'd be any kind of psychedelia influence in the music, because I saw the influences were very, like, kind of post-punk.
Yes. So
No question.
I was thinking of new wave kinds of things. I was thinking of as I said, experimental kinds of structures. I can definitely see things going in maybe a more psychedelic direction, especially towards the end where things make less and less sense. But yes, I think I don't think you could very well hear the music that I had chosen, and it fulfilled my wish that it wouldn't be too loud that you couldn't hear me, but now it was too soft that perhaps you could not hear it at all. So, alas.
How wet is it?
Please, I am a lady. Take me to dinner first. How wet is it? Great question. I think it's just the very beginning that's going to be aquatic. And the transition from sea to land, I was envisioning like a bit of a under the sea kind of moment, but not sounding like that, but same spirit. So coming from sea to land is going to have to be one of the interesting transitions we're going to have to make. So. Thank you.
Let's give it up for Stephanie one more time. Let's give it up for Scooge, clear early favorite. And let's give it up for Wet Shows. Amazing, amazing idea. Fish that dance. Isn't that a fun idea? You know who else loves to dance? Nicole Scherzinger. That's how you say her name. Very famous lead singer of the Pussycat Dolls. Real class act, very talented. I don't have a story about her. I'm a real big fan. You seen her show? She's American Treasure. Check it out. Check it out. All right, next up, we got Betsy Lyons and Sam Stone with Rehoming, a Baltimore flock opera.
I have some bad news for all of you. I'm not Betsy, nor am I Sam. It's just me. All right, so I have kidnapped Betsy and Sam. I sent them off to Maine, and I said, I'm pitching for you. So bear with me as I pitch Betsy and Sam's amazing flock opera. So we are in a world filled with pigeons. This is called Rehomed, a Baltimore flock opera. So before I get into the meat and potatoes of this pitch, I want you all to do me a quick favor. I can't answer your questions. For those who don't know me, my name is Neva. Hi. I know some of you, but not everybody. Do me a quick favor. There's a QR code on the screen. I have Betsy and Sam in a room reading your questions on Slack. So that QR code will take you to the Slack channel where, as we're going through this, you can put in your questions, ask them what you need to ask to get a better idea of how this show is going to transpire. So do me a favor and do that right now. They will be watching those questions, and I will be reading them here. I'll get out of your way. And at the end, we will read those questions and presumably their answers, which I don't have, but they do. This stand, how do you? Stand. Okay. Whee! All right, so what is, All right, hold on. Okay, better? We good? Okay, so what is rehoming about? We are in the year 2128, and evil techno-capitalists have taken over the US. Big Sister AI keeps a constant and close watch. I swear to you, this is fiction. This is not coming out of the news, although it might be. Anti-fascist rebels have returned to using an old form of communication. We are using messenger pigeons for communication. And rehoming hones in on a small flock that calls apocalyptic future Baltimore their home. So this is also going to be in Baltimore. The pigeons in this flock are going to be our main characters, but they're not our only characters. We will have humans. We will have a slew of other wonderful animals as well. So these lovable birds are far too aware that human liberation likely is going to lead to their abandonment again. I don't know about you, but I know that in World War II, we used carrier pigeons. We developed relationships with these beautiful animals. We used them for our needs. We leveraged them, and then we cast them the fuck aside when we didn't need them anymore. So these pigeons in our show know that if they help our humans, they're probably going to be cast aside again. So they are dealing with this tension, with this internal debate. Do we help? Do we hinder? What do we do? So do they quietly resist? Do they help? They want to be in the humans' fight for freedom, and as the flock opera zooms in and out between the pigeons' world and the human world around them, we have the opportunity for all of our creators at Bros and our artists to wing delightfully, pun intended, through kick-ass concepts of scale via set, costume, and puppetry, which we will get into. So, slide 2. We're going to talk about our sets. So here we are. So we're in the warehouse. Actually, no. We are in Baltimore, 2128. This is the outside world. We're going to spend the least amount of time here. We're going to see a mixture of harsh, rundown, high-tech neon lighting. It's going to be wet because of climate change. It's going to be loud and jarring. We will then zoom into the warehouse. This is where we will spend some more time. So inside the abandoned building where the humans are living, this is going to be that mixture of warehouse, of greenery. It's beautiful filtered light. It's crumbling cement. It's exposed rebar. It's metal. We have green plants slowly overtaking everything as we get into the warehouse. Where we're going to spend the majority of our time is our dovecote. So this is inside the dovecote. This is hidden in the warehouse. We're going to spend the most time in this setting. So it's well kept, it's cute, it's kitschy, it's made of found objects. We have cement, we have wood. It's clear in this space that the humans take really, really great care of their pigeons. And so those are the three kind of settings that we're going to find ourselves in during the majority of the show. Let's talk about sounds, music genres that we're going to see. So the majority of the show will showcase folk rock. This will be the main genre. It's used by both the human characters and the pigeons. Though the characters on stage will sometimes be playing acoustic instruments, maybe a string banjo, we're gonna have a lot of shredding happening off stage. So electronic instruments can still be used to amp that folk rock instrumentation. There's going to be plenty of room for riffs, even even if an actor is holding something that looks acoustic. Now, my favorite part of this show is that we have doo-wop, or as Betsy and Stone have termed, coo-wop. So this is our secondary genre, used only by the pigeon characters with each other in moments of love, happiness, togetherness, and it has a cute-ass name, coo-wop. What more do you need? We will also have industrial techno. This is going to be a secondary genre of the show. It's going to be the music of the outside city of Baltimore, of that future post-apocalyptic sound, and one particular oddball pigeon who loves industrial techno as well. Now, one thing that I think is really unique about this pitch and the idea that Betsy and Stone have is that we're going to use live Foley artists as part of the pit as well. So the show would ideally include 2 live Foley artists as part of the band. They're going to be using found sounds throughout Baltimore, but also live kind of live instrumentation that is on top of the pit as well. So kind of using that as additional texture and just that additional element. So let's talk about characters. I've said a lot about pigeons, but who are they? These photos that you see are inspiration for the animal characters that will be played by humans, with a couple of noted exceptions. So who is our main character? Who are we following around during this show? We have Mary of Baltimore. She's our lead. We see the world through this character. She is the great, etc. granddaughter of Mary of Exeter, who was a carrier pigeon who received a Medal of Gallantry in World War II. Pour one out for Mary of Exeter. She loves the humans the most and worries about the pigeons' plans to keep their homes, is undermining the human anarchist activities. And so she wants to help the humans. We have Carpathia, who is a silly, sweet little clown of a pigeon. We have Preeny, who's a big, beautiful, badass, girly pigeon. We have Herc, who is what Betsy has termed an absolute unit himbo pigeon. Besties with Carpathia, but his heart belongs to Preeny. I imagine we'll hear a lot of coo-wop to do with him. We have Squeegee Dirtbike. Yes! He is the punk-ass weirdo in our pigeon culture. He loves the industrial techno music of the outside world. It's kind of his music. We have Ghost Cat, who is a ghost cat. Cat that's a ghost. We have, and lastly, our puppet, our big fucking puppet. We have Nevermore, who is a quiet and reserved raven who hangs out with our pigeon characters. Note about this world, there are not a lot of ravens left. This is again a love letter to Baltimore. We got to include our raven friends. He is not played by an actor. He is played by multiple puppeteers. He is 13.5 feet tall. Betsy was very clear about this. To be as exact as possible. We also are going to have a slew of comedy characters known as rats. We will have a gaggle of rats, a little trio of rats who are our little smart asses. We have one right here. They are friends with our pigeons and they help them out sometimes. All right, costume design. Let's talk about the fun world our costumers get to play in. Most of our time in rehoming is spent with the pigeons inside our dovecote. This is where the doves will be at their larger scale size. We're gonna have humans playing the pigeons in costumes. The pigeon actors will obviously be in feathery costumes, lots of color, with articulated wings. We want them to be able to move around, but still be able to have relatively free agility in their movement. So hair and makeup will be a huge part of giving us the ability to see the actors' faces and keeping them visible. And we are pretty sure that Bros already has rat costumes somewhere that we can use for our rat characters, as we see. Let's talk about puppet design, which is a huge part of this show because we're going to play with scale. That's one of the coolest things about this pitch is that we're going to zoom in and out of the world. So we're going to have the pigeons played by life-sized humans, but they also, when we're with our human characters will be shrinking down in size and will be played by little puppets. So when our story flies out to the real human scale, the animals will thus shrink in comparison. When this happens, the pigeons, the rats, my favorite character, Ghost Cat, will be portrayed by small puppets. And as mentioned, Nevermore is huge. He's big, possibly a multi-person puppet. And the possibilities for how he can be designed and built are pretty endless. I know that Betsy and Sam are really open to working with our phenomenal puppeteers to realize him. There also might be some giant hands, but there's a video of Betsy and Sam talking later where they'll talk a little bit more about that. So lots of opportunities to play with puppetry here. Let's see. So now we have a video. I get to stop talking and let the creators actually talk. So I'll let them take it from here.
Oh, hey, hi. Sorry, didn't see you there. Oh, hi. Did we have something to do today? Oh shit, we're supposed to be at the pitch party. Oh, pitch party.
So sorry we couldn't be there in person. We are actually really sad about it, believe it or not. I am Betsy, she, them.
Stone, they, them.
And we are here to give you more context as to why we made the decisions that we did.
So, why pigeons? The pigeons we see everywhere are descended from domesticated birds. Humans and pigeons have lived together for centuries. When we fundamentally alter a species, what care do we owe them in return? If we've wronged them, and we have, what can we do to make things right?
What we did to pigeons after the World Wars was terrible. They began as beloved pets and sources of food, but eventually working for and alongside us. Then once technology evolved and they weren't useful anymore, we just put them out. They make silly, non-existent nests that the internet loves to poke fun at because we made them that way. They didn't need to make their own nests when we loved them for what they could do.
So why this show and why now? There has been and always will be resistance to oppressive forces. Tearing down tyrants is necessary, but what will we build in their place? What sort of world are we fighting for? It is hard to change course when you've participated in harm, especially if that harm benefits you. And it's even harder to work to repair harm with those who have hurt you deeply. What does it look like to take accountability for your actions? And how brave must you be to offer up your trust yet again?
So why Bros?
Well, first off, Bros is known for badass puppets and bombastic spectacle.
Also, Bros is the place that many other theaters claim to be. A home for the weirdos and the marginalized people that get pushed out of other places. Not because we aren't talented, kick-ass, and hardworking, but because we don't do things in exactly the way the social script expects us to. We have a lot in common with pigeons. Bros is the only place we want to do this show. It is built for bros, crafted with love for us and for all of you.
So why did we pick the setting? Baltimore is our home, and we love it, good, bad, and ugly. It's also a great hub for pigeon communication along the East Coast.
And being in the semi-near future allows us to examine contemporary issues with exaggeration and distance.
So why these music genres? And don't get it twisted, there's plenty of room to rock out in this show.
Folk rock may have been one thing in the 60s, but we can fill it out even more with electronic instruments off stage and evolve folk rock into something new, because it would. Our characters are reaching back into a somewhat idealized past of both human and pigeon ancestors to escape and push against the popular music of the outside world. Folk rock came into being during the 1960s and was the voice of the anti-war rebellion, love, peace, drugs.
We might have an actor holding a shoebox guitar on stage while an electric one wails just off stage.
And for the doo-wop, which we are calling
Coo-wop,
Baltimore actually had huge doo-wop scenes in both its black and white communities back in the 50s and 60s. The Orioles, a very popular doo-wop band, came from Baltimore. Doo-wop has been passed down through the pigeon community as the music that was heard when we were still happy, when World War II had just ended, but pigeons were still living with and being celebrated by the humans.
We chose industrial techno for the sounds of the outside world because it's loud, harsh, and specifically electronic.
And our big moments.
Oh man, in the first half of the show, a huge Ouija board splashes over the entire stage for the last scene. And the human actor playing Mary hops out a message to the humans. A centuries-long pigeon secret has been spilled, and now the human rebels know the pigeons can communicate with them.
So, during World War II, live hawks were trained to track and take out carrier pigeons. In 2128, it's drones, designed to look like hawks. In the second half of the show, Nevermore, the giant raven puppet, is deeply fond of Carpathia, the little tumble pigeon. When he sees Carpathia about to be taken out by Hawk's drones, he flies between them and Carpathia. They shoot or laser him a whole bunch. He falls a great distance and lands with a thump. Puppet gore. Is he dead? The pigeons band together to ask the humans for help, saving their friend. Any actors inside the Nevermore puppet disappear quietly, and a puppeted pair of giant human hands reaches on stage to gently lift Nevermore away. Don't worry, they get him all healed up, and he looks even cooler now.
This show ends with the cautious hope that pigeons can trust the humans this time, just as we hope to trust in one another.
And we have to maintain community and to build towards the future we want.
So ask us questions on Slack. We're really excited to talk about this show.
Bye.
Thank you, Betsy and Stone, for recording that video and speaking way more eloquently than I could have. We have a couple of questions in the Slack, though I will say I'm going to take some time to read them. If you have questions, please feel free to scan the QR code here to ask them. I need these in my life, so if we can have them made, I will take a pair. We have 2 QR codes on the screen. We have one for the Slack if you have any questions for the end of the pitch. We also have a Spotify playlist that Betsy and Stone put together of inspiration for the show, of the folk rock, of the coo-wop, of the industrial techno. 3 questions. Okay, so we have 2 questions on the Slack. One is how many pigeon actors will we employ? Betsy says between 7 to 10 pigeon actors specifically. I see the question, what shows and dancers do you all think of using for choreography reference? And Stone says we're interested in collaborating with the choreographer and the costume department to figure out what's feasible, and we are open to ideas. I think we have time for one more question, and I see that in the chat. I'm going to read it, and hopefully Betsy or Stone will have answered by the time I'm done reading. Any thoughts on how the mechanics of using carrier pigeons to send messages will influence the plot? Parentheses, transporting pigeons far away and then attaching messages to them that they then rush home to deliver, so a different pigeon doesn't try to get with their pigeon wife. Ren, that's a great question. And I see typing in the Slack. If you all have access to the Slack as well, please feel free to take a look as well. So yes, to Ren, we envision a pigeon or 2 leaving for a field trip and that being really scary. Let me see. Dustin asks, I have to ask about the industrial techno. Is it just the soundtrack to the outside world? Are there any outside world characters that have songs, or is the techno just a score to the outside world? There's also a question that says, why no Orioles? And Betsy says, oh, the pigeons don't like the Orioles. They're full of themselves. Canon, you heard it here first. Let's see. I'm going to give it, okay, we're out of time. Vote for rehoming.
Wow. Who came in here tonight thinking they were going to walk out with a new, deep, emotional understanding with pigeons? Am I right? Man, my hierarchy used to be, it was like dog, cat, horse. I think horse just got bumped. I'm going to sleep on it, but that's how I'm feeling right now. Man, that whole abandonment thing, that really got to me. You folks ever been abandoned before? Yeah. Raise your hand. Raise your hand if you've been abandoned before. Lots of us, right? Yeah, me too. By Chris Farley. Not because he died, although that was tragic, but because he was supposed to be picking me up after a gig at the Harry Reid International Airport. It was a big gig. January 1997. The Green Bay Packers had just beat the New England Patriots at the Super Bowl 35-21. And they were coming to my town to celebrate. Gate A15, that's the brass ring. close to the terminal, but not too close, and I was on fire. I mean, I killed it. Security didn't even look at me sideways. That's how good I was. And I walked out there jingling like Santa's sleigh, folks. You could have heard me coming a mile away. So many welts, I looked like a basketball. I was going to be in tuna melts for weeks. Weeks. But how was I to get these riches home? A cab? In Vegas? Those guys can smell money, and they know how to get it. I'm no Tommy Tourist. But I can't risk a payday like this. I look like a boo in Aladdin. So I call my good friend, Chris Farley. No answer. I call him again. No answer. I call him a third time. I'm down 75 cents at this point. I'm bleeding melts. I need this guy to pick up. Click. He answers. I say, hey, Chris, I'm so glad you answered. I just had an amazing show, and I could really use a ride. You think you could help me out? And he said, if you don't stop calling me, I'm going to have Sandler come down there and break your fingers. So I gambled it all the way at one of the slot machines in the Harry Reid International Airport, which you can also do there. Did you know that? Anyway, now he's dead. True story, true story. All right, next up, we got our last pitch. But before that, we still got some wonderful prizes back there in the raffle, folks. If you haven't gambled yet, you're offending me. Oh wait, no, too late, suckers. We're gonna ask if you didn't buy one. Whoa, bummer. So we're gonna pull it right now.
Okay. Can I'm stepping on that.
Yeah, bring it up, doll. Wave to the people. Wave to the people.
Oh, there you go. It's fine. Oh, no.
All right, bro swag first. All right. Humana. 623-765.
Oh, yeah. Pull out your little tickets. Yeah.
623-765. That means I get it. If nobody calls it, that means I get it. No. It's in my contract.
No.
623-765.
Okay. Pull again. Pick again.
All right. After this one, though. 623-767.
Okay, like at least 10 of you bought tickets.
I'll just throw these out, I guess. Hang on.
Yep. That's okay. All proceeds benefit.
623-764. Does nobody want this stuff? Come on. All right. There's got to be one. Got to be one in here. 623-756. That's all right. We got a lot more tickets. in here.
We can keep going, buddies.
623-758. Hey! Woo! That was a close one. Wait, it was one of the other numbers? Well, that's fine. Nobody else claimed the other, so it doesn't really matter, does it?
Okay, so people weren't paying attention is what we've learned. Yeah.
An important lesson. Okay, all right. This is for the booze. Yeah, I think some of you degenerates will be a little more attentive to this one. 623-745. Yeah! That's a bingo. All right, that was hilarious. All right, next up, we got our final pitch of the night, The Sleep of Reason by Jacob Zaranko.
What the fuck is up, everybody? God, thank you all so much for being here. Thank you to Bros for letting me present my pitch to you tonight, The Sleep of Reason. So I want to start this off by doing a few introductions because some of you know me, but most of you don't. So my name is Jacob Zaranko. I'm an artist, musician, sound designer, and audio engineer from Baltimore. I am also a coffee roaster, a video game fan, a metalhead, and a lover of fun facts and knowledge. So that's me, but what the fuck is this? So turning this back kind of full circle a little bit, The Sleep of Reason is Dante's Inferno meets A Muppet Christmas Carol. At the end of his life, living in isolation with his companion Leocadia, Spanish artist Francisco Goya goes to sleep for what he decides will be the last time. But upon falling asleep, a younger version of himself is visited by two mysterious figures. The first is Asmodea, a gentle, loving figure that reminds him a lot of Leocadia, while the second is a more mysterious and malevolent figure named the Ghost, who reminds Goya a lot of the worst of himself. To make Goya confront his fears and trauma and decide whether to wake up to another day, the two guides take him on a journey not just through the layers of hell or his past, present, and future, but through his 14 infamous black paintings and the massive chorus of creatures and monsters that exist within them. So with the combined effort of a massive cast and ambitious designers, I want to bring these paintings to life, share their stories, and make a spectacle of the nightmare. But I want to be clear up front that this show is not an art lecture or a history lesson. All right? The characters and events and journey are inspired by history and interpretations of his work, but are ultimately fictional and original to the show. So whether you know everything or nothing about this artist or the period of time, you will leave the show having had the same experience. So with that said, there are two goals that I am trying to meet with this show. The first is thematically, I want this to be a vessel to explore our current social, cultural, and political reality in order to achieve a shared sense of cultural catharsis and a personal sense of self-empowerment. The second is on a production level. I want this show to be a way to celebrate Bros and the designers, musicians, and performers that make it the ambitious powerhouse that it is. Yeah! And to show you how, let me show you the vision. Yeah! This show will be massive, it will be challenging, and it will be incredibly rewarding. And since it already uses Goya's art as the foundation for the narrative and the songs, I want to lean into that even further by allowing his paintings to serve as a way for the designers and performers to flex their unique talents and creativity. So for some examples, we have Duel with Cudgels. This will be dedicated to the fight choreographers and our stunt performers, while the band just gets to go fucking caveman mode with heavy grooves and brutal breakdowns. Pilgrimage to San Ysidro and other similar crowd scenes would utilize movement, puppetry, projections, and creative costume design to create larger-than-life scenes with genre-bending music to emphasize the scale. For these three cuties, we can let our character actors and improvisers shine and find ways to bring some levity and dark humor into the show, maybe even add some weird, bizarre, goofy music to match. And with the dog, this can be where our movement and dance performers shine, and we can add some more emotional and delicate instrumentals to match the tone. But there are countless other paintings and drawings to pull from and reference if they inspire someone. Ultimately, Bros has just built such a strong base of versatile artists, and I want to give each one of them a chance to shine, including the designers. So to properly articulate how batshit crazy I want the designers to go, I want to start this section by saying that this show will not have a massive Bros moment. It will have at least 3. The first is starting in the lobby, where audiences will walk into a bizarre art gallery displaying the paintings and other curios referenced throughout the show to prime audiences without lecturing to them. We can even throw in some stuff from Bros' past. But then, as the doors open to go up into the theater, the audiences will walk into a stairwell lit by a sickly yellow light that sucks color out in real time, leaving them in grayscale, as they enter a surreal yet plain-looking set. The second moment is minutes into the show, when Goya is asleep at his little brown desk. As he nods off, the world of this play will literally explode out of his head, with the set itself expanding in size and depth and revealing projections, puppetry, shadows, anything hiding in the little corners and crevices, and whatever the fuck else people can come up with. And the third moment, towards the show's climax, I want to recreate the witches' Sabbath by using puppets, crazy costumes for the crowd, planting people in the audience, and using practical stage effects to create bonfires and displays of ritualistic witchcraft. But most importantly, to bring my man, the great he-goat, to life, the main character of this huge song. I want to revive everyone's favorite goat head from Ceremony of the Faceless! Now, you might be saying, Jake, this all sounds fucking sick and awesome, but what does it literally sound like? Well, with so many moving pieces, I want the show to be tight. So it will be about 95% sung through and based in progressive and modern metal. So think bands like Periphery, Sleep Token, Hawks, Spirit Box, Tesseract, Haken, the list goes on and on and on and on. This is a genre defined by variety and experimentation, which means the band gets to have just as much creative freedom as everyone else. It's a place where classical Spanish guitar, rock anthems, and crushing breakdowns can coexist seamlessly so long as they all sound huge and intentional. And I also want to feature distorted screaming vocals as a prominent part of the sound, with a particular focus on the show's metal choir, an idea inspired by the one used here in the game Doom Eternal. I want this shit to sound huge! And the best part is that you do not need to know how to do this prior to the show. Of course, it is welcome, but this, for those who are open to it, will be an opportunity to learn a new and versatile style of vocalization in a safe and controlled environment. And I'm happy to talk a lot more about that in the Q&A, but for now, I think it's time to finish this painting. This picture is The Sleep of Reason Produces Monsters. This is what inspired this whole idea. Like us, Goya lived in a violent period of time defined by imperial decline, civil conflict, religious and political persecution, and fractured understandings of reality from person to person. And if you're like me, it can feel nearly impossible to find hope in that giant mess of shit. But as dark as his work was, Goya managed to find hope when he made the last two black paintings. And he ultimately left them all behind to rot in obscurity so he could live a little longer and paint a little brighter. This show is dark and heavy on the surface, but at its core, it's about finding hope on a personal and communal level while also celebrating spectacle, art, and the magic that we're all capable of creating. You thought it was the end! All right, some of you may have noticed, if you're familiar with Goya, that there's been a particular painting missing from this presentation. And it's because it's the fourth bros moment of the fucking show! So to truly close out this presentation, I made a little video to give an idea for the music and metal choir in context, as well as an idea of how this reveal can happen. So with that, I give you my proposal for Bros' next big, and I mean big, monster of a puppet.
Louder! Louder!
We're making Saturn devouring his fucking son, baby! And I hope that this excites you as much as it excites me. Now, as the rest of this video and the memes play out, I just want to say that I truly believe that through this show, we can push ourselves as artists and Bros as an entity to even greater heights and create something absolutely incredible. And I quickly want to thank Meg Williams, Michael Logue, Mac Lewin, and Lacey Block for your help, support, and willingness to be a part of my creative team, as well as everyone here and watching and voting from home. And lastly, To use the lowest hanging metaphorical fruit, I want this show to be a blank canvas that each and every person involved makes their mark on, so that by the end of every single show, the stage itself is a painting that is wholly and uniquely Bros. Thank you. And if you want to see my mood board and the playlist of everything that I'm thinking, feel free to scan that code right there.
Question.
This might be a very easy yes or no question if the answer is no.
Okay.
But was this at all inspired by Trans-Siberian Orchestra's album Beethoven's Last Night?
It was not. But now I have something new to check out.
Indeed.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. How big in footage is this puppet gonna be? Have you thought about the scale?
I want this to be as big as humanly fucking possible. 20 feet, 25 feet. Pick up a whole man. I don't know what we can do, but we'll figure it out.
As far as plot, is it gonna be like linear, or do you have like a sort of like it feels dreamlike? Is what I'm getting from it.
It is very dreamlike. It is essentially reimagining the context of his life and that period of time in history as interpreted through his paintings. So it gives us a lot of creative freedom to put our own stuff in there, but there is a beginning, middle, and end to this journey.
Hey.
Hey.
My question is, Francisco Goya is obviously Spanish.
That is correct.
What does it look like? You talked a little bit about like the screaming and the metal music portion of it. What does it look like in conjunction with like the setting as to where he is and where he ends up?
Yeah, so Goya is, as a figure in art history, known as the last of the old masters and the first of the new. And he was a huge part in blending genre and art style. And for me, progressive metal is something that is exactly that. And I think it fits the tone of this dreamlike world that he creates perfectly. Does that answer your question? Language. Oh, yeah. So he is Spanish. And I would love to embrace the bilingual group of artists that Bros has been building, especially since Lempira. And also in the brief bits of time that we will be in the real world rather than the dream world, Goya suddenly went deaf halfway through his life, and that's a big dramatic thing. That's a part of this whole thing. But he also helped pioneer at the time, modern version of sign language in Spain. So I want to be able to introduce things like that. And with all the Catholic imagery, there's room for Latin, the French invasions in there. We can do a bunch of stuff with language, but I am prioritizing English, Spanish, and a little bit of sign language.
Some of the last things you said started to fill in this a little bit. I understand the dreaminess and the imagery, but I was curious to maybe a little bit more narrative structure.
Yeah, the narrative structure, I'm inspired heavily by Dante's Inferno for this, of going down your own history as it relates to these things. But a more specific answer to that actually is Goya, when he painted the black paintings directly on his walls in his home, he would give private dinner parties and tours of the art that he made. So there is an intended order to view each painting. They do tell a story in and of themselves. So the paintings themselves will be the baseline for this happens, then that, then this, then that.
One more question.
I know you wanted this to be 95% sung through. Are you incorporating any ballads in this?
100%. Yeah, I fully want to incorporate a variety of different styles of music, as well as bits that are just underscore, but they're spoken word, or they're it's talking, but it's tuned tightly. It's confined a little bit, so that way we can keep this a very tight, controlled experience, while also letting shit go a little off the rails. All right. Thank you guys so much.
Wow. Thank you, Jacob. Goya. What a character, right? Famous artist, famous bean merchant. What a life. What a show that would be. Let's give it up one more time for Jacob. I love art. I love art myself. Love art myself. You know, Goya, can't say I knew the man, but you know I did know? Picasso. You ever heard of him? Terrible gambler. I don't mean that he lost a lot. He did, but it was because he didn't really seem to understand how gambling worked. It was like me and credit. We were basically the same guy that way. He never brought any money. He'd just come into the casino and he'd scribble some nonsense on a bar napkin and he'd throw it down on the table and they took it. Every time. Didn't matter what it was. One time he drew Jimmy Stewart's pecker. That's right, legs diamond. I recognized it immediately. And they gave him $30,000. Unbelievable. Now, his game was blackjack, but he either didn't know or care when to stop hitting. The man hit on everything. He was like Greg Brady. Remember that show? It was okay. You can't do that no more. Anyway, he'd have 21 showing. Everyone at the table is begging him, please, Pablo, you gotta stop. But he'd just keep on hitting, throwing money away. So one day, I'm at the table with him and he's doing this dance and I say, Pop, why do you do this? You gotta know how this works by now. He takes a long sip of his drink, he sets it down, and he looks at me and he says, Larry, learn the rules like a pro so you can break them like an artist. And that's the whole point of why we're here tonight, folks, to be artists and break the rules. So thank you, everyone, for coming. Please tip your bartenders. I got a QR code behind me right now. At least I should. At some point, there's supposed to be a QR code where you can vote for your favorite. You do your rank voting for the. Yeah, you got it. You got it. You're doing it, champ. You got it, champ. Hey, there it is. Oh, there it is. Thank you all so much for coming. You're welcome. You're welcome. God bless.